So here's my first impressions of the new and upcoming Back for Blood game by the infamous Turtle Rock Studios and Warner Brothers. Well, to start the video out, I have some gameplay up on screen for you guys to see my shitty playthrough with one of my friends. And let me say thanks for tuning in, and I'll try to get my points across as best I can. And that I received closed beta access starting on the 5th of this month. The game is not out yet. This was just the beta. And this is also my first review type video, so bear with me as I try out this new format. I might make it an every now and then type of thing for games I'm just really looking forward to. But this is my opinion. I didn't have to think I would have to say that. And yours could be different. And you could have had a better experience with this beta overall. So without further ado, Back for Blood. Back for Blood is a spiritual successor to the amazing Left 4 Dead franchise on the Xbox and PC platforms. Those games are great. And since Back for Blood is made by the same studio, I will be comparing the two extensively. So let's start off with some good. So, the good. Well, where to begin? Visually, I suppose. Because the game does look good. I have decent hardware, and I was able to play the game at a native 1080 Ultra 60 FPS with slight dips when encountering dense hordes or just a dense forest with some fog. Other than that, I did try to change it to high settings and played with it and tinkered with some of the HDR and the lighting as best I could. So the lighting in this game might look off. Other than that, the game is dark. And I mean dark. There isn't an option to toggle a flashlight. Instead, the devs have fixed areas around maps where the flashlight will be turned on automatically, but then once you leave that area, it toggles off. That wouldn't be a problem if the game was bright enough to see overall. Anyway, HDR setting is an amazing setting, first off, that I personally use for gaming. I use it for my Xbox, my PlayStation, and my PS4, or my PC. I use it whenever I can. But for some reason, with this beta version of the game, at least for me, it seems like HDR just wasn't optimized for PC use. When I enabled HDR, the game went into a foggy gray tone, and everything was washed out and super bright. So I fixed the lighting. But when the setting was turned off, I had a more crisp and better looking game all around. So until the issue's fixed, there's no need to enable HDR for your games. I can't personally recommend it until that is fixed. But apparently, speaking to some of the console players, the HDR worked just fine for them. But I got free access to the game on PC, so I'll try that out on PC just for the beta. So I'm going to try out the full game when it comes out for free on Xbox later this year for the Game Pass. Overall, the effects were good for the game. As you can see, the fireballs from the muzzle flashes look good. Explosions look kind of nice. I can't really complain on that aspect. But the game does have a really good nostalgia feel to it. It feels like a Left 4 Dead game. So I give them praise for that. The hordes feel good, even though I was half expecting a World War Z style horde throughout the game, but that's just an off opinion that I have. You got safe rooms, indicated by big metal doors. Guns and ammo lying around, infected roaming around, and an overall grim mood with the atmosphere and lighting adding a new dimension to the world that is better at storytelling than the latter titles. Linear maps, random locations for everything to ensure you can't remember the placement and locations of much needed gear for certain situations. That's just like the latter games where no two playthroughs were really the same. I like that. It adds a replayability and something I always look forward to when going back and playing the older Left 4 Dead titles. There's writing on the walls, random NPC and character dialogue to tell the story of this new universe is just a great addition and a good callback to the older titles that is a really good way of just informing players about the lore and universe that this new IP has to offer. Sadly, that's just where the nostalgia loses its mark, and the game starts to lose its fun factor for me. The sound design is pretty good for this title, though, actually. I like the ambient sound inside the city of people running, screaming. It just gives the player an overall sense of an outbreak happening while you have to press on to the next safe room and finish the job you have to do. It's a really nice bonus to the game, and that adds more to the overall experience of the world. Just had to mention that one really quick. The gun audio for this game is, to me, subpar what it could be. Really. I don't know. They just need to sound beefy. Like, a Desert Eagle is a 50 caliber handgun, yet it sounds like such a puny, just at best, 45 caliber round. The Barrett 50 cal sounds off, and most, if not all, the guns just sound lackluster to the overall sound quality of what they could be. Now, I'm not asking for an amazing Modern Warfare 2019 gun sound design, but at least put some effort into making an MP5 sound like a bitch weapon compared to an RPK. I don't know, that's just me though. Again, this is a beta version, so they are probably working on all of these points in this video, and it's going to be here as a joke in the future for everyone to see how wrong and stupid I am. So now the character audio. The character audio is just really well done, and the voice actors do a really good job with different inflections in their voice depending on the situation they're in. It's really all I can say since the cast doesn't say very much. But good job. Same goes for NPCs in the little hub area. In the hub area, it guess it's cool. you could, there's a body bag you can punch, but then you run out of stamina and you really don't hit it that hard. So the fun's over in like 3 seconds. But they do have a firing range. And I think that was a cool addition to the game, even though some of the shit in this game kind of just ruins it for me. But I feel like that's more just of a gameplay feature rather than some stupid gimmick. I'll get to that here in a second. A quick little segment of the multiplayer PvP mode. They have... Yeah, it was a shit time. I played a few matches. It's a glorified horde survival mode. 4v4, survivors do just that. They survive for a certain amount of time to win, while the other team plays as the boss-infected characters and tries to ruin their day. But let me tell you, it is extremely unfair. The survivors get 2 minutes to hunker down and build defenses, but the defenses stuff is just scattered throughout the level, and most of the time, from my playthroughs, it's just a really shitty gun that doesn't do anything. The infected then begin after like a 3-minute waiting period, and then all hell breaks loose. I also played with random people, and the infected just wiped the survivors out. But I really won't get into the PvP section of this game because I spent most of my time with friends replaying the campaign through all 3 difficulties. I wish there was a campaign PvP just like in the original Left 4 Dead games, but that will probably be added later closer to launch, hopefully. Or in general. But the survival PvP online, just not my thing. Maybe with a lobby full of friends, it'll be worth it. But my time with that mode sucked. So at least give it a try with friends. Don't take my word for it. There's also cross-play in the game, so that's cool. That's pretty much an industry standard now, I think. So just the cross-play is fine. So the bots in the game are pretty decent. As you can see on screen, it's me and my buddy Zeno for this recording. We're doing it with bots. So we were playing on medium, but then we switched to easy just to see how the difficulty of the game works. And the bots do a decent job. I mean, they're mindless idiots that shoot back at infected. What more could you ask for? They do the same thing as the bots in Left 4 Dead. They got that right. The difficulty in this game, even on the easiest mode, is still quite a challenge. Granted, sometimes you really have to fuck up or go out of your way to become overwhelmed and just start over from the beginning. I began the game with my friends on the standard difficulty, and holy hell, maybe because it was our first time with the game, or we all just suck. but that was a challenge. It doesn't help that we alerted every single infected horde we could and just got completely railed in the middle of the level and then had to go all the way back to the start. Which brings me to the super cool alert features in the game. The most common are birds. Now, birds are just hanging out in piles somewhere. You can hear them if you just listen, but there's also a HUD icon when you get close to them. But when they get spooked by the player, they signal the horde. That's all fine and dandy, except in one section of the game towards the beginning, there are several bird locations in one spot, and if you run through that section, all the birds signal at least 4 to 5 hordes. And at that point, you're royally fucked. Just try to run, because you can't. Oh, and on Nightmare difficulty? Yeah, you're losing a friend, because he fucked you all over. So now Matt isn't invited to my birthday parties anymore. I don't want him there. Oh, there's car alarms that go off, but I've only ever seen and triggered one. I guess there's like a snitch. I haven't seen it, so hopefully in the full game. I don't know. The birds suck. Just watch out for them. Going back on the Modern Warfare 2019 thing, can more developers just add in an ADS reload or tactical reload? It is a great thing, and I wish this game did it. Also, another gripe. Why do you have to cock the weapon with a bullet still in the chamber? That's just always annoyed me. For example, and you've probably seen it in this video plenty, but if I shoot one shot out of a gun, why does the animation have to have it where the player will, like, reload, but still cock the weapon? It's dumb. Don't do that. That's just a personal opinion, though. It's just, ever since I was a kid, it's bothered me. That's just not how things work. So, moving on to the final point of all of this. And I wanted to save this one for last because I think it's super important to state that, and I want to be the one to have it on record for the world to see, and hopefully Turtle Rock and Warner Brothers can take this last piece, learn, and not fuck up this title. But I do not like the card system in this game, and I do not like the gun and attachment rarity as well. I'll try to explain as best I can with this topic. And starting with the card system, I will come out and say that I feel this is a microtransaction / loot boxy system in the making, and no one seems to be talking about this. It bothers me. Let's not forget that Turtle Rock made Evolve, a dead game that was filled to the brim with microtransactions and an overall better on paper type of game. And Warner Brothers, they put loot boxes in Shadow of War. Shadow of War, a single player action RPG. Just let that sink in for just a quick second. So with that out of the way, that's why I dislike this new card mechanic so much, because it seems like early signs and red flags of what is to come. And I'm sorry, but I can't be the only one in hot water for this opinion, because all the advertising and hell, even the name Back 4 Blood is trying to get Left 4 Dead players excited about this clone IP. Okay, so I like the cards that have dynamic weather. But why not just put that into the game as like a coded feature or something instead of a card system? They already randomized the map and its layouts and how certain aspects work. Just do that. And shit, Battlefield's been doing that for years now on a grand scale in a multiplayer game. I'm pretty sure these devs can do this, and it would make the game just 1,000 times better. I do not support this card system, and frankly, it ruins the Left 4 Dead feel to the game, alongside the stupid weapon rarity system that they have in place as well. And this comes to the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 were amazing titles that have only been made better over time. Like a fine wine with mods. And But if you're going to advertise your game as a Left 4 Dead spiritual successor or otherwise, don't have these systems in play. And the fact that I think the devs realized they couldn't match the Left 4 Dead experience that gamers missed when they first played the games over a decade ago. People wanted Left 4 Dead 3. Give them that. For example, Earthfall. I don't know if anyone remembers that. But Earthfall was a game I bought because I wanted a new Left 4 Dead game. And I got it for the PlayStation. I tried to experience that game on the PlayStation 4 with some of my PlayStation-only friends that have never got to experience Left 4 Dead on the Xbox. And for those who played Earthfall, let's be honest with ourselves here just for a minute. We enjoyed the game until the final mission and never went back to it. But that's not the point. Earthfall is a 1-to-1 replica of Left 4 Dead. But instead of infected zombies, they used aliens. I'm not going to explain Earthfall to anyone who hasn't played it. Maybe I'll make a video on that, who knows. But for those who know, you know. You know? So, by comparing Earthfall to Left 4 Dead, it's a blatant ripoff of the Left 4 Dead IP. It's a cash scam, right? Because it's the same thing. But it worked. So the question is, why had Back 4 Blood gone off the beaten path of their old IP and made changes? It's stupid. It just makes Left 4 Dead... Just make it the Left 4 Dead 3. I forgot to mention the guns. Shit. The rarity system is stupid and serves no purpose, even in the PvP mode. And the attachment system is trash, because if you're competent with a shooter game, you'll do just fine. Why add stupid mechanics that add nothing? And that's the point of this last portion. If Earthfall could completely rip off Left 4 Dead and... I don't know, I guess they didn't get sued by Valve or Turtle Rock, then why couldn't Turtle Rock clone Left 4 Dead and give us that same great Left 4 Dead that we've all needed? I know I said that was the final point, but I mentioned the guns and attachments just very little. And I am going to quickly touch up on that. Hopefully this video isn't over time. I don't want to be talking about this for fucking 2 to 3 hours in a game that's not even out yet. Alright? So the guns in this game are also just... they're not scattered around like Left 4 Dead. This game is... you get what you get mentality. And I think it's dumb. Sure, you can buy a preset gun from a safe room shop, but what's the point? What happened to the cool table of medkits and guns and ammo? You barely find any scattered around the map, so you better like what you got. That probably is why the rarity feature is in the game. It just makes no sense. I'll tie this into the attachments as well, because there's different colors, and I think purple's the highest tier? I think purple's the highest. I don't know. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't do anything. Not in the campaign and not in the PvP. It's a stupid feature that has no substance. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to it to understand that element of the game, but from what I know, it's useless. Just give me the AK and call it a day. As for attachments, I think it's awesome. But if you're going to have attachments, why not, instead of buying from a shop or rarely finding them throughout the map, why not have a cool create a class type system that lets you customize weapons so when you do pick them up in-game, it has your attachments and whatever else you did to the weapon. Kind of like a Call of Duty Zombies, just not as convoluted. If that makes sense. So the shop system is dumb. It should have, and should either have a complete workaround or removal from the game. I'm really not going to get into that though. And if you've made it this far in the video, thanks. I'm sorry if it's a little bit on the long side. I wanted to try to get as much info as I could into it by hitting the important stuff. But if you feel I missed anything, or you just want to yell at me because this video is pointless, then just go belittle me in the comments. I can't wait to ignore those. Anyway, thanks again. Maybe I'll do this type of review more often, but like I said, it's going to be for games I'm mostly excited to play. It's not going to be just a review channel. I want this to be mainly a gameplay channel where I can play games with my friends and you guys can tag along for the ride. But if you do like the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you didn't, I completely understand. My parents didn't approve of me anyway, and they hit that dislike button before you did. But hopefully you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more.